Becoming a parent was one of the biggest moments in my life. So much changed my goals, priorities, and my perspective. It presented many challenges and I learned a lot. It also made me think differently about my career. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how it changed my perspective when it comes to work-life balance, and also how important it is to have a job that supports your journey on becoming a parent. You may not be at that stage of your life right now. I learned a lot of things that I wish I knew before I became a parent that may help you in the future.
Some run on gasoline, and others have rechargeable batteries.
My name is Byron, and I'm a traffic engineer based in California, the United States. And in January, my wife and I welcomed our first baby. Because I had a great and supportive employer, I was able to take 2 months off from work with minimal worries about my job. Paternal leave is typically given to parents so that they can spend time bonding with their new baby. In California and the USA, like many other parts of the world, employers typically give this as a benefit, but it can be very different depending where you are. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we still at this time had to be very careful about going outside and potentially getting COVID and passing it on to the baby. But this leave was a great experience, and I learned so much about what it takes to be a father. It also presented many challenges. One thing that I still struggle with today is understanding the new work-life balance paradigm that I have to adjust to. When I go back to the start of my career, I was someone who rarely took paid time off. I did go on trips every now and then, but generally I let these paid time off hours build up and they were unused. I remember I had a lot of hours saved up to the point where I started even using them for studying for my licensing exams in civil and traffic engineering. While others were taking time off to do vacation, do other things, and spend time with family, I was using them to study. I would use paid time off to study and take online courses and read. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, I realized my work-life balance wasn't that healthy. Looking back, I didn't really see the value of what paid time off can also give when it comes to work-life balance. So unlike the workaholic me of the past, I had a decision to make on whether to take time off in the form of paternity leave. And I was actually encouraged to do that at my work, and also spoke to other parents who said that I really should. So I did do it. First couple months of a baby's life is a very special time. And as a first-time father, I had to learn as much as I can, and often taking care of a baby required staying up into the late hours of the night. And I'm very thankful I got to spend this time away from work. It was priceless, and it was an experience I'll always look back to. You would think having time off would also make everything else in life easier. Well, it didn't. It actually became a challenge. I struggled to upload YouTube videos like I used to, and I also wasn't able to do a lot of the activities that you've seen me do in other videos. Every piece of free time became like a gold nugget that I had to use, or otherwise watch it dissolve away. And through this, I learned to value my time more. I imagine some people gain this perspective earlier in life, and that's awesome. I'm just glad I did. But for everyone, the realization of having a good work-life balance does not have to come when you have a baby like it did for me. But in order to enjoy being able to take paid time off and having good work-life balance, you need to have a supportive employer who will allow that and not make it a miserable experience. You may not be at that stage in your life yet to go on paternity leave, but there are some helpful things you should know that will help you determine if your employer will be supportive of it. It's better to be prepared than to be in a situation where it's too late and you can't prepare for it. So looking back, there were 2 ways that I used to determine if my employer would be supportive of me going on leave. The first one is understand what the culture is like at your workplace when it comes to going on paternity leave and raising a baby. The culture of an organization is very important. What I mean by this is even if I was protected by federal and California law that allowed me to go on leave, employers still can make going on leave a miserable experience or even have a negative effect on your career. To determine this, my recommendation is to watch what happens where you work, especially if there's someone else who went on paternity leave before you do. Watch how this person is treated. Do people talk badly about this person who decided to go on a long leave? Were they welcomed back and positively treated when it's time to come back to work? You have to think about, would you be encouraged to go on leave too? Does your direct supervisor support it? Or would there be issues like you have too much work that they would use to pressure you into taking less time off? You can usually find the answers to these questions if you're just observant, or through casual conversations with coworkers and people who have had the experience of going on leave. The second thing that really made a difference, especially with me being a city traffic engineer, is that when I went on leave, there was someone who backed me up. Before I went on leave, there was a plan that was set about how my responsibilities would be handled. If this isn't done right, 2 bad outcomes can occur. The first one can occur especially if you care about your job and work. As a city traffic engineer, I have a lot of roles and responsibilities that are part of my job. And if the workload isn't handled correctly when I leave, I'm actually going to be spending a lot of time on leave checking on emails, checking and trying to do work during my free time. And that really isn't leaving work. It's even easier for this to happen nowadays because remote work is so common and accessible. And it's not healthy when you're working when you're not supposed to be, and you're supposed to be spending time bonding and taking care of your new baby. The second bad thing that can happen if this isn't planned well is your work is dumped on someone else or multiple people that aren't really prepared for it or trained for it. This could lead into a lot of things, including lower team morale and more stress towards the people who now have to take on the extra work. It can also lead into these people being upset at you. So both situations, one where you have so much work that when you go on leave, you still never are able to leave work mentally, or two, it isn't planned well how your responsibilities would be handled, and it's dumped on people who aren't prepared for it, and it leads to lower team morale and people being upset at you. These are both situations you want to avoid. And really the only way to avoid this is to get ahead of this and talk to your direct supervisor to come up with a plan of how the work will be handled when you're gone. In my situation, knowing the responsibilities that I had, my employer actually hired temporary help to cover my position while I was gone. And I'm truly grateful for that because it allowed me to go on leave without being worried about my work all the time. I also had a great team that was competent in being able to handle the new assignments while I was on leave. Overall, I'm very grateful for the experience I got to have in being able to bond with my newborn, and hope everyone in the same situation would be able to have that opportunity also. And I'm also continuing just in order to have a healthy work-life balance and not save up all my paid time off hours. Thank you for watching this video. I hope my experience will help others. Feel free to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content about transportation or life as a traffic engineer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.